Hey y'all, and welcome back to part 2 of my Mario Planet coaster building. I figured I would try and yap a little bit on this video just to, I don't know, try and make it a bit more entertaining. I started on the landscaping first for the castle. I wanted to fill in all the empty space, kind of make it look a little bit more finished, but I did leave the left side of the castle blank for now just because I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be putting over there. On the right side, I know that's probably going to end up being a gift shop, but I'm probably going to put a ride exit there. I just don't know exactly what ride. I do want to make like a Donkey Kong type ride like the minecarts they have in Epic Universe. I really like that ride, it's fun. So I wanted to recreate that at some point, but that's not in this video. I put a bunch of pink lighting around the castle. I thought it was fitting since, you know, Princess Peach is pink. And I also want this area to be a little bit of a different aesthetic than the main Mario area, where I'm using a lot more like green. Here I'm building like a green tube, and I made a little star animatronic to pop in and out of it. The only thing is I think I made it a little bit too tall, and I don't fix it in this video, but I'm probably going to just push it down into the ground a little bit more so you can see the animatronic a bit more. It's a little hard to see when you go into like park view and walk around as a guest and everything. In this area, I used a lot of those white stones to, you know, make a trim to make everything look a lot more cleaner and nicer, and it fit the aesthetic a bit better than the normal curbs in the game. I also use a lot of these golden fences. I think they're from the parade pack. I think they just look really regal and pretty, and especially with the gold, they look really nice. I always like to finish off like walls and fencing with pillars and lights. I think it just makes it look a lot more finished and cleaner than leaving all the corners bare. I always accidentally make all of my parks way too dark, so I'm trying to remember to put a lot of like lights and stuff around everywhere. I also didn't like how I originally had the stairs where it was just one staircase going down, so I kind of made two shorter staircases and then the long one down, and I figured I would put benches or something on the little platform area, just so it's not like an unruly amount of stairs going straight down into the world. It breaks up the area a little better and makes it more visually interesting. Once I'm done building the Mario world, I'm probably gonna make like a Spyro world because I want to make a Spyro ride. I love the Spyro games. I grew up with them as a kid a little bit. I played Spyro Ripto's Rage, and I think it was Year of the Dragonfly or Enter the Dragon or whatever it's called. I never had the first one growing up though, only the second and the third one. But I do have the Reignited trilogy, which I've never actually finished playing because I like rarely have time and I'm kind of lazy to set up my PlayStation to play games sometimes, but I do want to replay the Reignited trilogy sometime because I do want to revisit a lot of the Spyro games, and I'm also the type of person who likes to try and 100% games and collect everything, so that's always really fun. So next to the Mario world, I'm probably going to create like a portal or something to lead to a Spyro land. I was yapping so much about Spyro, I forgot to mention that this is that star that I made to put in the pipe, but again, it's a little too tall, so I'm going to probably shrink it down or push it more into the ground so you can see it a bit better. Now we're finally building the walls of the stairs, and these stairs gave me a lot of problems, not because it was hard to make the stairs or design the stairs, it was because at one point when making the stairs, my game decided to crash, but luckily, all of my stuff was saved minus a few fence pieces and wall pieces or whatever, so it wasn't that bad. Did any of you guys grow up with Mario games? I was never super big into Mario as a kid. I had like Mario Kart, and I think that Mario, like Sunshine game or whatever it's called. I was never like super big into Mario or even Nintendo really growing up. Even now, I'm not super big into Mario. I'm mostly just making a Mario world because of Epic Universe. My mom and I went to Epic Universe in November of 2025, and it was really cool. It was a really nice park. I feel like a lot of people hate on it because of like the long wait times and stuff, but that's obviously just because it's like a brand new park. But all of the worlds were really cool. The How to Train Your Dragon world was probably my favorite because I am obsessed with How to Train Your Dragon. I literally have a Toothless tattoo like on my shoulder. I love him so much. He's like the cutest thing ever. But yeah, it was really fun. Out of all the Universal parks, I would say vibe and food wise, Epic Universe is definitely the best, and the lines honestly weren't that bad when we went, so we got to enjoy the vast majority of stuff that we wanted to do. There was only I think the only ride that we didn't get to go on was Mario Kart, like in the Bowser Castle, because it was always like a crazy long wait time, and whenever the wait time was short, there were other rides that had a short wait time as well, and we wanted to go on those instead. In this little corner, I originally was going to make like a Bowser statue, but I ended up changing my mind and decided to put like water and a waterfall there because I felt like it fit the Princess Peach aesthetic and the castle aesthetic a little bit better than my original plan. I also wanted to add a little bit more of like a natural greenery, nature-esque type of vibe to this area too, because even with like the greenery up by Peach's castle, it was still a bit cartoony, so I figured this would kind of feel a little bit more natural while also giving some interest to this like weird shaped corner by these walls. The waterfall actually ended up coming out a lot better than I thought it was going to, only because I usually suck at making water features, specifically with like the waterfall pieces. I could never just get them to look nice, and this waterfall I don't think is perfect, but it's definitely a lot better than some other waterfalls I have made in the past when playing this game, so I do really like how this area came out. I also put some greenery like up on the walls and stuff to make it look a bit overgrown with nature and stuff, and I think it looks really pretty once it's finished. I also used a lot of the vines and greenery to cover up the like waterfall spout pieces because I wanted to still be able to select them if needed, so I didn't want to put them in the wall just to make it a bit easier, and the vines just kind of covered it up nicely. Here I'm just adding like the finishing touches to the stairs with fencing and the lights, and somewhere around here is where my game crashed. I don't remember exactly where, but I think I got like the majority of the fencing done and then it just crashed, but luckily an autosave saved my life and I only had to redo the fencing, so it wasn't that big of a deal, thank God. Doing finishing touches like these is always so nice because I feel like you can really just see your vision coming to life, and this was kind of when I started to like the stairs a lot more because I was kind of unsure of them at first and I was really only keeping them to kind of match the vibes of Epic Universe, but I really like how they turned out. This here is like those grass blocks that kind of make up like the main part of Mario Land, so I used actually the gingerbread pieces from like the Christmas stuff that we have in the game because it looked the most like dirt without being too patterned like a brick, and then I just put these grass decals on the side, and then I think the top part is just like a plaster wall that I dyed the same green. I also wanted to include like actual Mario Kart. I think in actual Epic Universe, this area is like the Yoshi adventure ride that sort of drives through that area, but I wanted to make an actual Mario Kart area because I thought that would be cool, so that's what I ended up putting in the mountain. I struggled so greatly with this queue. I don't finish building the queue to this ride in this video, but ride queues are like my worst nightmare. I can never make them look good, but that's the goal of me making this series and building, is to get better, so hopefully as I build up the queue a little bit more, it'll start to look much better than it does now because it is not great. But By the exit here with these blocks, I ended up turning it into a gift shop area, just kind of carving out a big box area to make the Mario Kart track go through as well. I also decided to delete the grass off of the blocks that have blocks on top of it because I feel like it looks cleaner when it's just all dirt and not stacks and stacks of all these like grass patterns. I wanted the entrance to this ride to look like you were entering like one of the Mario tubes, so I filled it up with like black plaster pieces to kind of give that illusion a little bit, like you're walking into the pipe and you're getting teleported onto the ride by jumping into the pipe. My goal with this world is to make it look just as busy and overstimulatingly loud as the actual Mario Land in Epic Universe is. The Mario world in Epic Universe is really cool and I do really like it, but it's kind of hard to walk through. At least maybe we just went when it was a little bit busier, but it was really difficult to navigate through sometimes because there's noises everywhere. Like, the world's going off, the rides are going off, there's people everywhere, there's loud kids everywhere, and then it was also difficult to like navigate through all the crowds because other than the Harry Potter world, it was like the busiest world there, which I mean makes sense, obviously kids like Mario, so it's nothing like bad, but it was a little more headache inducing than some of the other worlds, which were a little bit more calm. So we actually really didn't spend that much time in Mario Land. We spent most of it in Darkmoor and the How to Train Your Dragon world because they were fun and a little less chaotic. With this queue, I kept putting stuff down and then deleting it because I just couldn't get it to look good. So I build on it a little bit more a little bit later in this video, but again, it's still not finished or close to being finished. I just didn't want to deal with it in this video. But I did make the actual track, which is going to kind of go through the main like back part of this world. I don't know exactly how I'm going to decorate this ride. Like, I don't know if I just want to make it blend into the Mario world and just kind of throw Mario characters around, or if I want to actually try to like recreate some of the different tracks that are actually in the Mario Kart game. I do think I might include like the Rainbow Road track at some point in this ride. I haven't figured it out yet, so I don't really build too much with this ride in this video, only because I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with it exactly. On these blocks up here, I actually put like a walkable path in this area. I originally was going to turn it into a restaurant, but with Peach's Castle having a restaurant, I felt like that was just too many restaurants to have in such a compact area, so I ended up putting a ride up there, and then I put a bunch of food underneath it, like underneath the platforms and stuff. This area came out really cute. I themed it to Yoshi. At first I kind of just did like Mario colors and then mix it with like green to kind of match the world, but I ended up changing a lot of the red to just be green and white to make it more Yoshi themed. Here's all the different like food stalls I put in. I themed the colors of this area a little bit more Mario colors, like more of like that red and blue, but then I think I added some pops of yellow to it too to brighten it up a bit more. I'm also putting some of these like grass blocks in like the middle of some of the walkways to kind of break up the space so it's not super open and it's a little more compact. And then I turned this one, Epic Universe has like these areas where you can like interact with different like Mario themed stuff, like the blocks and stuff, and they make noises and do different things. When you have like those like wristband things, are kind of almost like the Disney wristbands, but they're universal and like Mario themed. So I put one of those in, and for this one, when they interact with it, it makes like the Mario coin noise, and then a coin pops out. I made like a coin animatronic to come out of this block, and later in this video towards the end I do like a walkthrough where I show off like, you know, what I have done so far. And I waited for 10 whole minutes waiting for the guests to trigger the coin so it would pop out and like make the noise, and they never did. When I was building this entire park, like they were triggering it every like 5 minutes. Literally all I heard was coin noises going off, and then the second I wanted to show it off in the video, they just refused to turn on the coin. I used some of these metal wall pieces to cover up the coin so you didn't really see it before it popped out of the brick, and then it also kind of cleaned up like the block a little bit and made it look nice when I put like signage and stuff that was telling the guests that like you can press the button and something will happen. One thing about me in this game is I build very chaotically. I rarely ever like focus my attention on one specific part of an area until it's finished. I tend to go back and forth between a lot of areas because, I don't know, I'm just very chaotic in the way I build, and I feel like I get less bored of building areas when I can kind of like move around a lot more, so I kind of go back and forth between a lot of areas that I'm building at once, which makes these speed-throughs look very chaotic sometimes. Here I'm making the sign for the Mario Kart ride, and I originally was just going to leave it like this, but it looked kind of bland on the wall with just the letters, so I ended up taking a sign with like a bunch of lights on it. I think it's from the new parade pack, but I'm not 100% sure, but I just put that behind the words, and I don't know, it just kind of takes up a lot of that wall space, which I think makes it a lot more interesting. And then here I'm building like a Mario hat piece to put on the tube part of this ride, and I originally wanted to make it like an animatronic that would move, and it would kind of look like, you know, like someone was like tipping the hat or like moving the hat, but when I actually finished it and put it on the tubing, it looked really stupid when it was moving, so I ended up just, instead of leaving the animatronic running, I ended up just turning it static and just putting it on the like middle top part of the tube, and I moved the sign up to fit it a little bit better, and it looked a little less weird and awkward that way. Here I started building those like spiky metal block things that crush you. I forget what they're called. I always forget what these things are called. I don't know why. I forget a lot of certain Mario characters like names and stuff, but he comes out kind of scary looking, like kind of ugly, but I feel like paternal to him, you know, like he's like so ugly I feel bad for him, and I think he's kind of cute because he's ugly. I'm not the best at building like characters and stuff like this in this game. I just find it a little bit difficult on like where to start because we have so many different pieces and you can do pretty much anything with all these pieces, and sometimes I feel like I get overwhelmed trying to like pick the right pieces and make it look good, especially with like the shapes that we have, which is primarily what I use to like build these characters and stuff. But I don't know, even though he's kind of ugly looking, I think he's kind of cute, and I really like him. I ended up putting him on, like that vertical, we have like a vertical animatronic piece in this game that makes things like bounce up and down, so I put him on that, and I put him on the same block that the coin thing is on, just to add more movement to the area, because the Mario Land has like a lot of movement in it. There's a lot of like coins and characters moving around, so I want to add a lot of that to like all the different structures and stuff once they're done. Here I added the blue wall. This is where I added some more of like Mario's colors to the world with like a lot of red and blue, but I did add a pop of yellow to it just because I felt like just the blue and red was kind of giving Spider-Man, which I do want to build a Spider-Man ride somewhere in this park because I also love Spider-Man, so I might make an Avengers area or something too with like Spider-Man, but I added the yellow here just because made it a little bit brighter, and the red and blue didn't just scream Spider-Man to me with the yellow, and it went with the pipe color and it looks good with the green, so I kind of just added yellow where I wanted it to. Thinks it looks a little bit nicer. Another thing I always forget to put in my parks is like places for guests to sit, like other than tables to eat at and like trash cans. So I also tried to place some more of those down in this world as well. So some of the path areas don't look so bare and it feels a bit more like realistic that way. Again, I always forget to put lighting in my park, so I tried to put at least some here for now to brighten it up at night, because I always forget to do that. I was originally just going to put fencing here, but I actually ended up taking the grass blocks and building like an actual wall because I kind of want that area of the Mario Kart track to feel a little bit more separated from the Mario world, and I can kind of like build up some more with like characters or other decor and stuff. It just felt a little bit too open and not as compact as I wanted. I also didn't originally have a queue for the Yoshi ride, but I added one in just because I didn't like the way it looked with all the people just kind of gathering in this empty space. It does get very tight up there because it is a very popular ride for some reason in my park, and the queue isn't big, and this walkway area isn't big, but I think it looks cute being more compact. I think it just looks better. So I'm not too concerned of how tight it gets, but I used a lot of green and white up here, and I ended up building some actual like Yoshi eggs to place on the pillars, which I then actually added some lights to them to turn them into like the like lamps and lights that would be on these pillars. I don't know, I think it just looks really cool. It's cute, and I think it looks good with the theming up here. I also made a Yoshi gift shop in this park too. I didn't put it anywhere near the Yoshi ride because I didn't really have space for one. The Yoshi gift shop ends up being in the exit of the Mario Kart area, so I took a lot of like the colors and the theming from this ride and put that over there to create the Yoshi gift shop. Here is when I decided to change all like the red pieces to white, except for the little booth that the ride operator is in. I left that red just because I wanted a little less green and white. It broke up those colors a little bit more. Here is where I'm adding all like the lights to the eggs to brighten up this area a little bit and turn them into like cute little lamps. Around this time is when I started working on the Yoshi gift shop, and along with queues, gift shops aren't my strong suit either. I always either make them way too small or way too big, and I never really know how to decorate them to make them like look nice, but I do like how this one came out. I think it's very like cute and whimsical. I added a lot of like obviously the green and white. I ended up making an egg animatronic that kind of shakes a little bit and looks like it's going to hatch. I also used these tropical pillars and made the flowers green with the background being white, which I think is cool. It adds a little bit of like a pop of color and pattern to the space without being like too overwhelming, and I think it fits the theme well. I also put some of those egg lamps up on this gift shop, as well as one of those awnings. I used the circular one because I feel like it fits the shapes well. And then I also built a Yoshi sign to put up on top of the gift shop, and sort of like the other character I made. He doesn't come out like perfect, but for my level of character building and the pieces we have, I think he came out pretty cute. I feel like I'm slightly better at making 3D characters, weirdly enough, than like 2D characters, but I don't think my Yoshi came out too bad. I think he's kind of cute. He's a little rough around the edges, but he's still cute. I don't end up keeping the circle behind him. I just placed that down so I could see him a bit better against the grass being like green and everything, and I gave him eyelids to try and make him look a little bit cuter because his eyes were kind of like staring deep into my soul, but they kind of just made him look a little bit more concerned than anything else, but I still kept them in because it was kind of cute. Here I'm working on the shelving, which I was just kind of placing them down to get like a general shape of the store and like the space I had, and then I changed the colors of the shelves to green and white to match the aesthetic of the place. I also added like a fake door to make it look like the employees could like leave through it, but when I play Planet Coaster, I don't like dealing with like the staff and all that stuff, so I usually set it to where like they never get unhappy and they never need to like go on breaks or anything, because I don't like dealing with that. This is Pigeon that kept harassing me. He kept landing on different stuff. He landed on my shelf, and then at another point when I'm building I think another character or something, another pigeon lands somewhere, but they kept landing on stuff that I was trying to build. But anyways, the gift shop is kind of coming together at this point for the most part. I'm just changing around like the different stuff on the shelves, and then I add some like wall decals of like clouds and grass and stuff, and I added these like squiggly lines and stuff just to add some more interest to the walls, so they weren't just like plain. I added like some rainbows too, just to add a bit more pop of color to break up all like the green and the white. But I do like how this gift shop came out. It's small, but it's cute. I also usually don't like roofing places until like I finish building the inside, just because I find the camera a little bit annoying to like go inside of buildings. So I usually do the roof and the lighting last when it comes to builds rather than first. I think it's just easier to build in spaces that way. This area is so tight that a lot of the people kept getting stuck on the stairs, but I didn't really do anything to change it. I just kind of let them figure it out on their own because I like how compact the area is. Here I'm adding more of those grass blocks to kind of break up the space, but I ended up pushing them a little bit lower because I felt like with them being at the same height as the other one, it was kind of too compact, so I just lowered them a little bit. I'm probably going to put some Mario character on top. I'm not 100% sure what. I might put like those weird worm things, or caterpillar things, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Here I made like a little coffee shop, and I wanted to make it look like a mushroom, so I was going to do stuff with like rounded walls, but I couldn't get it to look good, so I just decided to make the mushroom stem a square. This mushroom is a little rough around the edges, but I think it's cute. It's, you know, small, compact, it's cute, it fits the area well. So I'm not too concerned about it being like perfect, but I think it comes out fine. Over in the awkward corner, kind of more towards the back, I placed an ice cream shop, and then for that building, since it's like right up against the stair walls for Peach's castle, I turned it into like her aesthetic, like that castle aesthetic. So it's a lot of pink, a lot of stone walls. I used the same like white pillars as like accent pieces, and then the same like floral lights that I used on the mushroom in red, I changed it to pink and I used those, and then I just put a little ice cream sign on it, and then in that like very skinny area by the path, I just filled it up with a bunch of different like bushes and stuff, and then used the same stone pieces to cover up the curb and make it look a little bit nicer to kind of fill up that space a bit more. Same with that awkward space by the Mario Kart area, I just filled it in with like trees and flowers, and then to fill up some of the empty black space in the tube, I just put like an entrance sign, and then to kind of try and cover up some of like the ugly pieces sticking out, I created one of those signs that like a lot of rides have where it's like the height signs where they say like you must be this tall to ride the ride or this tall to ride the ride with a parent or whatever. So I just made one of those and then I used a stone guest to kind of like as like a fake measurement, I guess, like a fake statue to show like how tall you have to be to get on the ride. And then I just put some text on the sign that says you must be this tall to ride, and you know, guests can walk by. It looks like they're measuring their height. And then I just put some barriers around it so guests wouldn't like walk directly through the statue. I started attempting to build the queue because I finally kind of got an idea on what I wanted to do with it. So the first little section of it before you get to that pillar is just like a continuation of the black walls to kind of like, you know, you're going through the tube. And then I make like a little hallway with like the yellow walls, and it's quite tight and compact. So I think once you kind of get past that area, I'm probably going to open it up a little more where you can see like other parts of the queue. I might have like character statue pieces and maybe even some like screens and stuff playing like videos of like Mario Kart or something once I get to it, because like I said, I'm not really great at building queues, so I didn't really finish it in this video. But I did want to include the little guy from Mario Kart that holds up like the traffic sign that, you know, is like the 3, 2, 1 go, and it plays like he has like the traffic light that he holds like above on like that on a fishing pole. And so I built the cloud first, and then once I got the cloud done, I built the little like turtle guy, because I think that's what he is. I think he's a turtle on top of that. And this character was really difficult to make. It's just like a lot of weird shapes, and he wears like goggles or some type of like glasses on, and I used some glass pieces to kind of create the illusion that he was wearing goggles. But I ended up using square pieces to kind of create like the edges of his glasses, and that not only took forever, but it was just a pain in the butt. And I don't think it looks great, but he's just kind of placed where the light is on the actual like Planet Coaster go-kart thing. So he's kind of far away enough to where I think you don't really notice too much of the imperfections he has. And then I used an event sequencer to sequence like the lights on his like traffic light to blink red, yellow, green, like a traffic light. It's not synced up with the ride where it like actually counts down when you go to like start, but he's just kind of there as like decoration to add some movement and some theming to the ride, because if you were like actually playing the Mario Kart game, that's where he would be, and he would be telling you when the race is starting. So I made him his little fake fishing pole with the traffic light, and I just kind of placed him right at the front of the track when you would be parked in your little go-kart. I also plan on at some point when I actually like build the ride, trying to turn the different go-karts in the game to like the actual like Mario Kart go-karts, or at least like more theming where like you have a red cart for Mario and stuff like that. I accidentally yapped for slightly too long, so here is the finished product, and here we're gonna go on a little tour of the world of Mario that I have finished building in this video.